Hello there, my name's Graham Mooney and I teach in the History of Medicine department at Johns Hopkins University. I'm here to tell you about an exciting new course called Healing Spaces in our online programme of the History of Medicine. But first, I want you to meet somebody. This is Dr. Edmund. In 1958, he was profiled by a World Health Organization magazine. The photographs were taken by the internationally renowned photographer Robert Doisneau. 68-year-old Dr. Edmund was coming to the end of a long career in the department of Creuse in central France, where generations of Edmund men had practiced medicine since the reign of King Louis XIV. Doisneau was tasked with capturing what it was like to practice family medicine in post-World War II rural France. So he observed Dr. Edmund in the office at his home, an imposing chateau built 4 centuries earlier by King Henri IV. Doisneau also snapped Edmund giving impromptu consultations on the street, and Dr. Edmund said of the villagers that I know them as well as if they were my own family. During his career, Dr. Edmund reckoned that he'd attended at least 150,000 patients, travelled 1 million kilometres and worn out at least 10 cars. Some of those cars were probably Citroens, just like this one. His rounds took him into the homes of everyday rural folk. Here he is, tending to a man with a weak heart. In this image, he visits an elderly lady with tuberculosis. Better roads and electricity supplies in remote areas meant that he could bring in X-ray equipment like this. He could also call on a radiologist from a nearby town to assist with a diagnosis. Dr. Edmund embraced this kind of new mobile technology, just as he celebrated the new drugs that could cure his patients of tuberculosis and other infectious diseases. In fact, so accessible was modern medicine to Dr. Edmund that he said as a country doctor he was just as well equipped to treat his patients as was a town doctor. So, as we look here at country doctor Dr. Edmund attending an operation in the town hospital, we're compelled to think a bit more about the ways in which geography fundamentally shapes the practice of medicine. And it transpires that when we do look, there's a whole lot that we can say about the relationships between history, geography and healing. In fact, as Robert Doisneau's photographs so powerfully show, healing takes place in all sorts of spaces all around us. The course Healing Spaces will go on a journey not unlike that made by Robert Doisneau back in 1958. We'll be peering into all kinds of healing spaces, not just homes, but the windows of apothecary shops, the back doors of ambulances, and the front doors of emergency rooms. We'll even be taking the low road with medicine shows and patent medicine vendors, stepping into the pubs, inns and coffee shops of northern England, like this one, where itinerant healers gave consultations. And we'll be embarking on the high seas to find out how medicine was practiced on convict ships like this one. We'll be exploring how and why all kinds of people, from early modern recipe collectors in their herb gardens and kitchens, to industrial designers in their studios, who made and used different kinds of spaces for particular forms of healing practice. And we'll be delving into how spaces like this waiting room in 11 Mile Corner, Arizona, condition people's subjective experience of illness. And we'll be considering how places like this are made through medicine. That is, how do medicine and healing give new or different meanings to spaces in ways that have repercussions for how we live our everyday lives? Through a combination of written assignments, live talks, story maps and voice thread conversations, you'll have the chance to work with faculty and your fellow students to research and write about a healing space. And once you've finished the course Healing Spaces, I'm pretty sure that you won't ever think of medical practice in quite the same way ever again. So please go to our website to find out more about Healing Spaces and all the other courses offered in our online programme in the History of Medicine.